Slick Willie Nylander leads the Leafs to a 2-0 series lead over Florida.
Dallas's Hattie Daddy strikes again, making some history in the process.
And he also leads the Stars to a Game 1 win over Winnipeg.
We've got those stories and so much more on this Wednesday night Stanley Cup Playoff edition of Locked On NHL Game Night.
When that final horn sounds, you know it's time for Locked On NHL Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before, only on Locked On NHL Game Night. Your team every day.
Hello there, hockey fans. Welcome to another episode of Locked On NHL Game Night, the place where the diehards go. I'm Cam Stewart, a sad Boston Bruins fan on the third coast.
And I'm Tyler Feldman, a lifelong Penguins fan, born and raised in Pittsburgh, but currently loving life in Austin, Texas. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Cam, holy moly. Holy moly. Another fantastic night of theater on the ice, this time up in Canada.
Tyler, you're telling me, man. A nail-biter in Toronto and another nail-biter in Winnipeg. This playoff has delivered, and Wednesday night was no different. Let's start it in the hockey capital of Toronto. Leafs, Panthers, Game 2. You'll remember the Leafs went up 2-0 against the Ottawa Senators in the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. They had a chance to go up 2-0 in back-to-back series for the first time in over 50 years. These Leafs just keep on delivering. It was a penalty fest in the first period of this one, but the lead actually goes to the Panthers, by the way. Joseph Woll back in net, still no Stolars. He was on the bench, but not in the game. Sasha Barkov rips one past him, 1-0 Florida, just the start that they needed, but they're playing with fire. They commit 3 penalties in the first period alone, and on the third one, breaking an 0-for-6 on the power play. It's the Leafs. Max Pacioretty. Welcome back into the fold. Max Pacioretty. It's 1-1. This thing goes back and forth. Brad Marchand, 15 seconds into the second period. His first playoff goal as a Cat. And of course, Willie Nylander gets in on the action. Slick backhand finish to tie it at 2. His 5th goal in 3 games. Slick Willie, man. He has been awesome in this one. We had a weird embellishment call on Evan Rodriguez that was a total hose job in the middle of this game. Cats fans could be up in arms about that. Lundell scores, makes it 3-3 after Domi gives him a 3-2 lead. And right after Lundell scores, with just this 6 minutes into the third, 20 seconds later, Mitch Marner from the boards, ramps up high, no deflection, past Bobrovsky, 4-3 Toronto. That would be the final score, and it is a 2-0 series lead for the Leafs. David Morassutti of the Locked On Leafs podcast. Oh boy, he's feeling good.
Make it 2. The Toronto Maple Leafs take a 2-0 series lead after beating the Florida Panthers in Game 2. I'm David Morassutti from the Locked On Leafs podcast, and it was Mitch Marner getting the game-winning goal, and there were a lot of timely goals from the Leafs in this game. Max Pacioretty getting the Leafs on the board after Florida scored first. William Nylander scoring on a great 2-on-1, as well as Max Domi, who also scored in this game. So a lot of guys from different parts of the lineup all contributing in this game, and the Leafs did exactly what they needed to do in this game, which was focus on what was happening on the ice and not the stuff that was going on off the ice with the Sam Bennett, Anthony Stolarz part. They put that past them. They made sure that this game was the priority, and they did just that. Now they go down to Florida looking to take hopefully put the pressure on the Panthers and maybe get a 3-0 series lead, or even better as the series now shifts to Sunrise. We'll break it down on the Locked On Leafs podcast, where we'll go through everything that went the Leafs way, some things maybe they'll need to work on going into the next game, and hopefully setting up for a big chance to move on to the conference final. Keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.
Big contrast between the two teams in this game. Florida, the defending champs, didn't want to fall down 2-0. At least I don't think so. And yet their stars didn't come out to play. They were not making an impact on this game. For the Leafs, it started with their big guns. But Tyler, this was all up and down the lineup. Complete effort from the Leafs tonight.
Cam, it really was. And I will say, Sasha Barkov scoring that first goal on the power play for Florida, that was nice to see. Just his second goal in this playoffs. There's a star there. Okay. But that was it. It was back and forth. 3 ties, 3-3, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. The stars came alive, though. That's my biggest takeaway. The last few years with this Toronto team, this core, the big question in the playoffs, where have the stars gone? Well, the stars came out tonight. John Tavares, really the only star in the lineup, not registering a point on the stat sheet tonight. But he made plays in other areas. And then you have Joseph Woll in net. I mean, one of the big questions for me after this game is if Anthony Stolarz is healthy and can go, do you go with him or do you stick with Woll? Because he played well in net. He made some big saves, and that's always a tough decision this time of year. Do you go with the hot guy or do you go back to who got you there? And I don't know. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see how Stolarz is, if he can go game 3. But I guess that also leaves, can Florida take control on their home ice? Can they make this a series? Because if not, the Maple Leafs certainly have the star power delivering. William Nylander, how about this, Cam? He has 6 goals in the playoffs. That is the most for a Toronto Maple Leaf since Joe Nieuwendyk back in 2004.
It's a while ago.
That?
Yeah.
I mean, that just goes to show you how rare it's been for this Toronto franchise to make this kind of impact and punch in the playoffs. They were fun to watch tonight. Even though it was a 1-goal win, I felt pretty confident watching throughout that Toronto was going to win this hockey game. Morgan Riley, too, he's been fantastic. He's been a stud in these playoffs. 2 more assists tonight. He's been a guy that the Maple Leafs have really counted on along the blue line.
Yeah, and he's been doing it at both ends of the ice. Truly, Riley's been pretty excellent offensively as well. And you're right, the Leafs did not look challenged in this one. They didn't look like they were caving in. It didn't look like a snowball effect was happening in front of us. And that's a big credit to the Leafs, but maybe some questions about the Florida Panthers, who now find themselves in an 0-2 hole after playing so well on the road in the series against Tampa. Armando Velez, are you worried about your Panthers?
Another close game late, but the Panthers fall short once again. What is up, guys? Armando Velez here from the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, here to quickly break down the Panthers' 4-3 loss against the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 2 of the second round. And Panthers score on the power play, Leafs score on the power play. The Panthers score 15 seconds into the second period. Just 4 minutes later, the Leafs respond. And then into the third period, the Panthers tie the game. And then 17 seconds later, the Toronto Maple Leafs score to take the lead once again. And the Panthers never really grabbed the bull by the horns. And for the Panthers, it was another game where they struggled with the rush defense. 9 goals for the Leafs, and 5 of them coming in transition. It's not good enough for the Panthers. Sergei Bobrovsky needs to be better. And mistakes once again by the likes of Dmitry Kulikov and Nate Schmidt for the Panthers. We're going to break all this down on tomorrow's edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. Your team every day.
So the defending champs find themselves down 0-2, but heading back to the friendly confines of Sunrise, Florida. Tyler, concerns for this team?
Well, Aaron Ekblad was back from his suspension tonight, and you thought maybe the physicality that this Florida Panthers team has used as an identity throughout the season and throughout these playoffs would come alive a little bit more tonight, but that didn't really happen. And what I think, Cam, is when you're a team that relies on elevated physicality, you forget about the small details, the skill that makes this sport so incredible. And that's where this Florida Panthers team is right now. You need the physicality. I'm not saying you don't, but I think Florida has relied on that physicality so much that they're losing sight of what wins you hockey games. So that's one thing. The other thing, and I just need to highlight Toronto here, first time in 62 years and just the 6th time ever in franchise history, they have consecutive 2-0 series leads in the playoffs.
That's awesome. Man, it feels like,
on one hand, it's awesome. On the other hand, it's like, where has this franchise been?
Yeah.
And can they deliver? Can they close things out up 2-0? Because things got interesting in the first round with Toronto. What will happen this time around with the defending champion Florida Panthers, who know how to win these hockey games? Big opportunity for the Maple Leafs. Florida right now, I see nothing out of that team. Bobrovsky's not playing well enough that they can make this and take this series to 7.
It feels like the Leafs are not getting pushed around at the moment. And that is a big hill to get over for this core and for this group. I'll tell you what, Winnipeg has not been pushed around at home this postseason until now. How about those Dallas Stars? We'll break down how they walked away with a Game 1 victory in the true North coming up next on Locked On NHL Game Night.
But first, tonight's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Did your business need to hire someone yesterday? Find amazing candidates fast? Well, it's easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs. Put your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. You know, I've been in that spot where you need the right hire. When the pressure is on, and every day without the right person can be a major setback. That's exactly when Indeed sponsored jobs comes in handy. They make sure your post is seen by the right candidates right now. So speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need.
Back here on Locked On NHL Game Night alongside Tyler Feldman, I'm Kim Stewart. Let's go to a different part of Canada, shall we? The West, which
Out
is
west.
really just the upper Midwest. It's right above Minnesota. Anyway, two teams from the Central Time Zone taking on each other in the Western Conference playoffs. And for the Dallas Stars, this seems like done and dusted. Game 1. They never win those, okay? They've lost, 8 in a row, I think, going into this playoff series. And I think they turned it off, Tyler, and they said, you know what? I think we're going to try winning
Clean
this
slate.
Game 1.
Clean slate.
They thought that might be a good idea. And so they came out of the gates flying in obviously a pretty tough atmosphere in Winnipeg. They get 9 of the first 11 shots in the game. But lo and behold, at the end of the first period, they're losing in the shot category, 13-12. It's scoreless. And then like we saw in the Washington-Carolina Game 1 the other night, it's the team that started off on the wrong foot that scores first. It was Hayden Fleury, this long stretch pass, Appleton to Nino Niederreiter, backhand off the post in, 1-0. Winnipeg going nuts. They're chanting U.S. backup at Jake Ottinger because they know they've got the starter at the other end in Connor Hellebuck, who did settle in quite a bit in this game. I mean, he had some tough bounces, but he was pretty solid. And that's apparently all that they needed to happen to wake up Mikko Rantanen, the one-man wrecking crew. A hat trick in the third period in Game 7. Flash forward to the second period of Game 1. He's like, I think I'll do the hat trick thing again. He gets one with one hand off of a rebound, just being loose in the crease. He one-hands it into the net.
That was my favorite goal tonight. Just
bonkers, man.
Pure desire. Put the puck in the net.
And at that point, Tyler, he sets the Stars franchise record. That was his 12th point in the last 4 games, and he was not done. He deflects one off a Thomas Harley shot a couple minutes later. That makes it a 2-1 lead. And then Rantanen again. It takes a weird deflection. I think it's probably supposed to be a pass or a shot that's going to go a little bit wide, but it goes off Sandberg's stick and in. Power play goal. Bang, bang, bang. 3-1 Dallas with 3.5 to go in the second period. Scheifele does bring an answer back for Winnipeg. Just about a minute later, makes it 3-2. So 5 goals in a bonker second period. We get nothing in the third. Jake Ottinger, tremendous. That's
what we got. That's what we got in the third. Ottinger, brick wall.
The U.S. backup, we'll see. I mean, that's going to be up for grabs. Maybe this series will be a nice little dress rehearsal. And for the first time since the bubble final, the 2020 Stanley Cup final, the Dallas Stars have won Game 1 in a playoff series. And Joey Erickson, normally known as Joey the Jet, who's changed his nickname, temporarily suspended that nickname for this series of Locked On Stars, is fired up about it.
Mikko Rantanen, the gift that keeps on giving. A natural hat trick in the second period for the Moose to take down the Jets in game one in Manitoba by a final score of 3-2. A really solid road game for the Stars. They get a timely power play goal. Jake Ottinger makes some timely saves late, and just a really strong game all the way around for Dallas, outside of a few penalties here and there, and the penalty kill being brilliant. Dallas played a really solid road game. It's their first game one victory in 8 consecutive tries. So off to a good start on the road, and Rantanen right now is the best player in the postseason, and he showed it again tonight in game one.
Tyler, I know the circumstances were weird and unique, but this guy got traded twice this season. I mean, that just doesn't happen for someone of this kind of caliber. And maybe he's just a little PO'd the way he's played the last couple of games.
Cam, if you were a Bear hibernating throughout the entire regular season and you just started watching playoff hockey and you saw what Mikko Rantanen is doing and how much he's scoring, he's been part of each of the last 12 goals for Dallas. He's scored or assisted on each of the last 12 goals.
Just
Not
real
even
quick,
that.
I'm gonna bring a Bruins thing in here, but I promise it's for historical context.
Okay.
David Pastrnak did that for 11 straight goals during this season.
He hibernated, or oh.
I mean, everyone else did. Trust me. He did that where he had a hand at 11 straight Bruins goals, and that was a franchise record for a franchise that's 100 years old. Rantanen just won up that in the playoffs.
Insane. And his 6 goals in last 14:53 of total ice time. So he has 6 goals in less than a period. 2 hat tricks in back-to-back games. All 3 goals in each separate hat trick coming in one period. Insanity. So going back to the hibernation and going back to your point, if you're just starting to watch playoff hockey after being asleep for the entire regular season, you would have no idea that Mikko Rantanen has gone through this ridiculous multiple team journey throughout this season.
Oh, man. Imagine, I know I'm thinking way ahead, but imagine we get a Dallas-Carolina final and he just gets to avenge 2 of the teams that traded him. I mean, one he forced his way out of, basically. He's like, I'm not coming back, but that would be something. This guy is rewriting the history books right now. 14 points in the last 4 games. I mean, just video game stuff from Mikko Rantanen, and we will be talking a little bit more about him before this night is done. But from the Jets side, first home loss of the postseason. It was, the back and forth, obviously the emotional game 7, much like Dallas had, but just a little flat in this game. Didn't really produce a ton 5-on-5 offense. They get the 2 goals, but pretty stagnant throughout this one. The good news is
you had another former Kane, Niederreiter.
That's true. Niederreiter scores. Niederreiter
putting them on the board first.
Man, if they had been eliminated,
a lot of Carolina
already,
in this series.
If they had been eliminated, this would be really tough for Carolina to take. But they are up 1-0 in their series. And Connor Hellebuck, a little bit back to form. I don't think he wasn't
played a good game,
spectacular, but he wasn't bad, which is what we thought he was going to be based off how uncomfortable he was in the last series.
And going back to just real quickly, Cam, back to those second 2 Rantanen goals, it was just right place, right time. He's just, when you're hot, you're hot. And should Hellebuck had those? Maybe, but there was traffic in front and it just bang, bang in hockey, game of inches. So, I thought Hellebuck played fine. He was good enough for them to win, but just didn't happen tonight. Yeah,
and Rantanen's 3rd goal, I mean, that was crazy. Just this crazy deflection. I mean, I know the puck's not off the ice really, but he's playing a pass, and all of a sudden it's through the wickets. Harrison Lee of Locked On Jets, he ain't hitting the panic button just yet.
They say that you're never in trouble until you lose at home during the NHL playoffs. Well, the Jets have already lost at home, Game 1 against the Stars, and yet I'm not hitting the panic button. Harrison Lee from Locked On Winnipeg Jets here. Winnipeg just dropped a tight 3-2 decision to the Stars, but the way that they played, I really didn't feel that it necessarily reflected the scoreline. Winnipeg was, for a good portion of this game, the better team at 5v5. Where they fell short was on the power play and in some of their decision-making when it came to shot selection. The Jets really did try to throw everything at the wall. Unfortunately, they didn't quite get some of the high-danger chances and looks that they were hoping for until they finally got a few bounces, but then either Otter or some combination of the Stars defense, unfortunate bounces, whatever you want to call it, the Jets just could not quite get across the finish line. But all that said, if this is how Winnipeg is going to play this series, I do think the Jets are going to do the same to the Stars on the road. So don't panic. It is just game one. This is a very feel each other out, testing the waters kind of game. Don't read too much into the loss. I still think the Jets are in a good spot. Follow along for all your coverage at Locked On Winnipeg Jets throughout this playoffs. And if you're a Stars fan, check out Locked On Dallas Stars as well for their side of the story. But we'll see you then. Have a great night. And as always, go Jets go.
Tyler, real quick before we get to break here, we saw how Winnipeg played on the road the last series. Dallas, that barn in the playoffs is up for grabs. I mean, that is a loud arena. Is this a wake-up call for the Jets of like, guys, we got to nut up a little bit. We got to win on the road?
I think you just said nut up, but yes.
I did.
But yes. Couple positives. Mark Scheifele returns after missing the last 2 games. He scores to make it a 3-2 game. I think that's a positive. We haven't talked about Dylan Sandberg at all, defensive guy for the Jets, but he's been fantastic.
Scored a goal, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he has a plus 1.6 defensive rating. That's second only to Seth Jones in these playoffs. So he's been playing well, too. I agree with what was just said, though. It's don't press the panic button just yet. This team is good enough to battle. Jason Robertson on the other side for Dallas. He was back.
You mentioned him. He's back. Yeah.
Kind of slowly getting back. So there's, again, feeling things out a little bit. Some guys coming back from injury. This was an exciting game one, though. I could very well see this going 7 games.
Wouldn't that be a treat after what we saw in the 7-game series for both these teams last time?
It'd be like
that
little Jerry Garcia, little ice cream.
And we got treated there we go, to a couple of great ones this night. We've got to sift it out and give our stars of the night and know they don't have to be from Dallas. That is coming up next on Locked On NHL Game Night. Let me ask you something, guys. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where the heck did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, getting new subscriptions for the playoffs, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money ain't just a budgeting app, okay? It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. You stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. It's all in one. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check those finances, track your spending, plan your long-term goals for 2025 and beyond. And look, if you want to manage money with a partner, I should do that. Mine's about to be a doctor. All right. It's smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set those goals, stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Cam Stewart, Tyler Feldman here on Locked On NHL Game Night. A couple of 1-goal thrillers once again. This keeps delivering. And now we've got to sift through it and give our stars of the night. Tyler, I stole an easy one out from under you the last time we did this, so it's only fair that you get first dibs this time around.
Cam, you are such an honorable teammate tonight. Very easy. My star of the night, the Dallas Stars, Mikko Rantanen.
Oh,
I'm liking.
I thought he would fall to me at 2.
Hear me out. Shocker, I know. Hear me out. The way in which Rantanen is scoring on the ice in these playoffs is similar, and I liken it to how Derek Jeter was scoring off the field during his prime in New York City. I'm talking about Mariah Carey, Jessica Biel, Minka Kelly, Adriana Lima, a bunch of other just beautiful women. Derek Jeter, the way in which he was scoring off the field during his prime in New York City. Generational scoring streak is what we're seeing from Mikko Rantanen right now for the Dallas Stars. The guy has scored or assisted on each of the Stars' last 12 goals. We went through all the stats, all the big crazy history numbers earlier in this show tonight. But what he's doing is sensational. Back-to-back games with hat tricks. The crazier part for me, though, and I posted this on social media, is that the 3 goals that he scored last game and this game all happened in one period. He has 6 goals in less than 15 minutes of ice time. Again, Derek Jeter, off the field, ladies' man, scoring in that department. The same as Mikko Rantanen right now in these playoffs. What he is doing has you on the edge of your seat. And 2 of those goals tonight, right place, right time. When you're hot, you're hot. You're putting yourself in the position to score. That scoring mentality, insane. And the fact that his journey took him from multiple teams to Dallas, what a journey. What a story here in these playoffs. That's why we love this time of year.
And like, look, the Stars did give up capital to get him, and they're going to pay him $12 million a year, but it feels like a gift, man. It just does, that a guy like that becomes available.
Put the money aside if you're going to get this kind of production.
What an absolute steal from GM Nil over there in Dallas. I mean, continues to do it.
At least one GM in Dallas is likable right now, okay?
Knows how to run a team.
I'm not saying knows how to run a team, but at least he's likable. The decisions that he made, they're working, okay?
Of course, you're talking about the former pitcher Chris Young, obviously, running the Rangers. I do have another question for you about Mikko Rantanen, and it's a real simple one. Top 5?
Top 5 what?
Top 5. I mean, I'm taking this guy over Kucherov at this point. Kucherov can keep leading the league. Yeah. Kucherov can keep leading the league in points and then not score in the playoffs. Like, this is a consistent, at least a point a game guy, 90 points plus over the last 3 years going into this one. He only got 88 this year. 2 of those seasons were over 100 points. And now he's proving, albeit early days, but proving that he can do it without Nathan MacKinnon. I mean,
I will say this. Rantanen is averaging more than 1.8 points per game in the playoffs. During the regular season, that number is 1.3. So,
and he is by far, he's definitely the best forward on that team. He's the most skilled. Like, this is not a Nathan MacKinnon merchant anymore, and he doesn't have anyone anywhere close to that skill level. The Stars are a good team. They've got very good players, but no one of Nathan MacKinnon's level, and he's elevating his game. I mean, this is incredible stuff.
Beyond necessary, too, because remember, Dallas going into the playoffs, riding a 7-game losing streak.
Yeah.
You remember me saying, what is going on with this organization? I was so dumbfounded, and now maybe I'm the one who should be left dumbfounded by how the Dallas Stars are playing right now, and I get it. It's game 1. Don't press the panic button if you're Winnipeg. And Dallas still has to win 3 more. But when you have that kind of production from one guy in particular, and we still haven't talked about Mr. Ottinger, who played fantastic tonight, had 2 big saves with less than 2 minutes to go. He had 29 saves in total on 31 shots. If you're getting that kind of production, too, from your netminder, you're getting that kind of production from your best scorer on the team, dangerous combination. Plus, you've got all that experience. This is a Dallas team that has had success time and time again each of the last handful of seasons.
I am going to shift. I'm going to go outside of that game for my star of the night. And at first, it was looking like I was going to give it to my guy, Brad Marchand. He has a goal in this one, his first playoff goal this year, and he was making an impact on every shift.
Why is he your guy? The Boston tie?
Yeah, he played there for a bit. He had
a little bit. How many years? Just a few?
With the Bruins, he had a cup of coffee. I've got a couple of Marchand jerseys kicking around here somewhere. And the craziest part, Tyler, is the guy who I'm actually going to give it to. Because if you had told me that in the year of our Lord, 2025, I was going to be talking about a second-round playoff game and giving my star of the night to Max Pacioretty of the Toronto Maple Leafs, I would have been as dumbfounded as you were about the Stars going into this postseason. I mean, but the guy, he gave a big lift to him on the back half of that Ottawa series, scored a big goal, had a nice game 6. And then here in game 2, he gets a goal and an assist. He is providing depth scoring for them. He's coming off. I mean, he had 2 major Achilles injuries, right? 2 major leg injuries that he's been coming off of. His season looked done, or his career looked done, I should say. Last year, I was thinking, oh, maybe the Bruins could get him on a real cheap discount and he can give you half a season. Here he is in the playoffs, lifting a very talented Leafs team. Max Pacioretty was all over the ice tonight. I can't believe I'm doing it for those battles that those guys had 10 to 15 years ago, but I'm giving it to Max Pacioretty, and I think he's a big reason why the Leafs have a 2-0 lead right now.
Cam, you're just showing so much growth, dropping your ego, your Bruins ego, to give a guy like Matt Pacioretty your star of the night.
So much class.
Bravo.
I will say,
Bravo.
it felt like 2011, except it's not the best spring of my entire life. And I let the record reflect that even as 13-year-old Cam back then, I found it pretty odd that some of the Bruins players thought Pacioretty was diving after that Chara hit. I think that was no theatrics there. Certainly about the same amount of embellishment as there was on that hit on Evan Rodriguez in this game. That was wild, but it's neither here nor there. We have given you the scores and the commentary on the night that was in the NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs. Yet another dandy. So guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, helps us keep our jobs, and helps us on the road towards 4,000 subscribers for the Locked On NHL channel. And you can ring that notification bell to get notified every time we're dropping videos, all times of night, whenever the hockey gods allow us to end our work. We want to thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network a part of your daily routine. And just remember, you could find us here 7 days a week for all the NHL scores and storylines from your local experts for your favorite teams and the guys like us, Cam Stewart, Tyler Feldman, on Locked On NHL Game Night.